Hey, Athena, you ready to go outside and enjoy this nice spring weather here in the second week of May? Let's enjoy the nice spring weather. Ready? Ready? Hey, welcome to our latest Q&A. We're actually about a week behind filming right now, so you probably should have been getting these questions answered about a week ago. We apologize for that. For reasons you can probably guess, things have been pretty crazy around here. So the first question we're going to answer today is actually one that we get a lot. It has to do with reasonable compensation for S corporations. Jamie writes, what is standard basic salary? So reasonable salary by official definition is a little bit convoluted and hard to figure out. There are a lot of general rules that are becoming accepted in the accounting community. One of them is to just go straight half and half, as in take half of your money through salary and half of your money through K1, but that's really not based in anything other than just, well, it's half and half. Furthermore, that may or may not be favorable from a tax perspective. Another general rule that's gaining a lot of steam right now is to just take $52,000 a year as your reasonable salary. But again, this is just a general number that's been thrown out. I have heard some really great arguments for why you should use this number, but nevertheless, the best way to figure out your own reasonable salary is to base it off of a variety of factors that have to do with you. Your location, your job duties, how much experience you have. A lot of different things can play into what your reasonable compensation should be. Now, for our clients, we actually use a system called rcreports.com. rcreports.com, I believe this would fall into the SaaS category, the software as a service. They have a computer algorithm that allows us to input a lot of very specific information about a client and generate a reasonable compensation number based off of that. I think it's bold for anyone to say that something is truly 100% audit defensible. It offers you the most specific positioning for your situation. If you go through the process of generating something specific, you're probably going to end up in a much more favorable tax position as well in terms of how much you're going to end up paying. So the next question we're going to answer comes from Dominic. Dominic actually asks a really great question here, which is, since I use Facebook ads to market my business and build a customer list, would the money I spend on ads be something that qualifies as something that could receive an amortization deduction? Dominic is referring to, rather than taking all of your Facebook advertising costs at once as a write-off, actually doing it over time. So maybe, if you spent $3,000 this year, maybe you take $1,000 this year and $1,000 the year after, and then $1,000 the year after that. It's very similar to depreciating a vehicle. Now, generally speaking, anything that's considered advertising is taken as an expense deduction. The closest thing to an exception we can really find for this is in instances where advertising is considered a startup cost. Sometimes people have been able to either capitalize or amateurize their advertising expenses. It's just hard to quantify the future benefit of spending money on advertising, and if you can't quantify the future benefit, you really can't capitalize it. Generally speaking, the answer to this question is going to be no. Costs for advertising should be expensed as they are incurred. First, it's time for a new segment that we call Hate Mail. So here's how this works. We're going to take some of the more interesting pieces of hate mail that we get. We're just going to talk about and respond to some of them. I want to take this opportunity to try and put a positive spin on something that's otherwise negative. So without further ado, let's get to the first one. Take your tips for exploiting human suffering and financial devastating elsewhere. Sincerely, Heather. I feel like the perspective that this email was written from was basically viewing anyone who does well during this time as exploiting human suffering and financial devastation, I think is the word we were looking for here. I think most successful business people will agree that this actually comes from a pretty unhealthy mindset. There's a completely different way to look at this, which is there's a lot of people who need help from certain professions right now. There's a lot of people who needed help with payroll protection program, with EIDL, with their stimulus checks. And that's an area that I can help a lot of people with and have helped a lot of people with. I'm contributing to the solution, not the problem. And I think the exact same thing can be said for realtors right now. There's a lot of people who want to move. So if I were a realtor right now, I would be grateful to help those in need. I wouldn't look at it as exploiting human suffering like Heather's implied here. I really do think the more positive thing that we can take away from an email like this is taking the opportunity to explore this mindset side of things. Now is a more important time than ever to recognize how important your work really is if you're in business. If you recognize that, you're going to find a way through this both for yourself and for all the people who need your help. But if Sean writes, off. Thank you for the productive email, Sean. Now, this one technically isn't hate mail, but I wanted to give it an honorable mention during this segment nonetheless, because I think a lot of people might be getting these. So what we have here is a really, really bad attempt at a phishing email. So Julia writes, "Good morning. I would like us to set up a time to discuss the attached document with a capital D. Space, period, space, kindly review document," even though there's two of them, that's singular, "and let me know what you think. Note, secured file would need you to confirm with your correct credentials for authentication. Regards, Julia." Now, I'm censoring this person's name because I don't think the person who's writing this obvious phishing email is Julia. I think someone might have actually stolen her identity. I'm hiding her last name. The reason I'm talking about in this is I want to take the opportunity to kind of point out how I know this is phishing, because for me, as a guy who grew up around computers, like, identifying phishing is just second nature to me, but I realize that not everybody is like this. And I know that not everybody is like this because poor Julia here was probably somebody who opened an email a lot like this, clicked on something, and now her name and email address are being used to spread the same crap. They sent me attachments, just the way this is written. There's nothing specific here at all. A review attached document. What kind of document? Kindly review document. Think about what? I still don't know what document this is. Secured, past tense. So you use secured in the past tense. What, it was secure and it's not secure anymore? What credentials are we talking about here? I don't have a login. Now, you can put a password on a PDF, but you don't enter correct credentials for a PDF. You enter a password that was attached to the PDF. I rate this with a solid F as far as phishing goes. Like, I've seen some pretty good phishing attempts, but a phishing email like this is just really pathetically bad. Like, seriously, F. Come on. In fact, we're going to give this an F- because it's so bad. If you're watching this and you get emails like this, they're phishing emails. Don't click on anything in them. When in doubt, just don't click on stuff. And that's coming from a guy who sends out a lot of marketing emails. So Patrick writes, "Why are you promoting tax loopholes like the top 1% use to avoid paying taxes? Screw the top 1%. Tax them at a much higher rate than the middle class. They should be paying more, not less in taxes. Don't send me your morally corrupt mindset BS." I've noticed that people of certain political ideology tend to use words like this a lot. They'll say things like morally corrupt mindset BS. I guess it's just a way for them to try and imply that anyone who doesn't agree with them is morally corrupt, which is kind of immature, frankly, but it kind of goes with the ideology. Anyway, to respond to this piece of hate mail, I mean, I don't know. Why would I promote these tax loopholes? Maybe the other 99% should be using them too? Like, seriously, why would I not be promoting these? If anything, it's more wrong to not promote them and to keep them a secret. I could just keep them all a secret and not tell anybody this stuff exists. I could just, only give this stuff to the people who pay to work with me. I could do that. I'm not doing that because I think everyone should be aware this stuff exists. You have the right to know this. You're a taxpayer. So you have the right to know about every tax loophole. So if you want to argue that I'm morally corrupt, if I'm morally corrupt for helping to enforce people's rights by educating them, then we'll proudly wear the label of morally corrupt or deplorable or whatever label you want to slap on me. I like to go out and club some baby seals while I watch Fox News on my iPhone. I'm so bad and morally corrupt like that. I'm so deplorable and unethical that I think people should have free choice. I definitely think that people have the right to know things, especially when they're being taxed. So yeah, like, I'm just this evil person who educates people and teaches them useful things and tells them how to save money and how to stay organized. I'm just so bad like that, man. So bad. So that's about going to wrap up this hate mail segment. I think I've revealed a lot of things about myself in this video. Now everyone knows how morally corrupt I am and how much of a bad guy I really am. If you're a fellow villain, hopefully you'll watch this and realize that I'm your type of guy. If you're morally corrupt like me. But if you're not, now you know the truth. Now you know just how vile and repulsive I really am. That's about going to wrap up this video. I'll see you in the next one. So finally, Jared writes, "Haven't and can't figure out when I should receive the stimulus check." Jared, a lot of people are dealing with this right now. Unfortunately, it's the sort of thing where we don't really know exactly when everyone's going to get their check. There are a couple of things we do know, however. Number one, the IRS is issuing the payments in order of income. So people with lower income are going to receive their checks first. Furthermore, you're going to receive your stimulus check a lot faster if you get it via direct deposit than if you wait for it to come via paper check. So don't forget that there's a portal on the IRS website where you can enter your direct deposit information and be able to get your stimulus money a little bit faster. That's about going to wrap up this video. I hope you found the information here helpful. If you have a question that you think we should answer in a video, submit it on our Facebook group or send it to info@rottweilertax.com. That's going to do it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.